So I realized I did not have my audio turned on. That's the second time I've done that this week. I mixed in my silicone here. So what I was telling you is I use Spot On treadmill lubricant. I use a drop per ounce of paint mixture, and I had about 8 or 9 ounces of paint mixed up, so that's what I added to my paint mixture. But the paint mixture is 1:1 paint with Owatrol Easy Flow from Owatrolusa.com. You can also get it on Amazon under my link. Going to be spreading it with the Wilton icing spreader, fondant spreader, that is also on my link. I've got my lamp black mixed up 1:1 ratio in a big bottle. All of the paint squeeze bottles have the colors. Again, I'll go through real quick. Lamp black, Dioxazine Purple, Purple Rain. Then I have a magenta color that is Quinacridone Violet with a little bit of Carousel Pink mixed in. Then I have Carousel Pink, True Red, Orange Flame, Cadmium Yellow, and then I mix Cadmium Yellow with True Ochre to get a buttery gold color, and Sour Apple and Festive Green. The one I'm mixing is Laguna, and I added a little bit of blue to it, and there I've got bright blue, and then I have a Peacock Teal Deep Blue Green that is Ultra Blue Deep and Evergreen mixed together. So I kind of mix my own colors when I have a color I want that is not in a bottle. So then now I'm going to take this paint and I transfer it to my squeeze bottle. But you mix it in the cup because you can control your mixing and all that, and then you transfer it to the bottle. If you mix it in the bottle, you're going to have way more issues trying to figure out the consistency, because you can't see the consistency inside the bottle. You can only shake it, can't really feel it. So therefore I mix in my cup, get it to the right consistency and color and all that, and then I move it to the squeeze bottle. Then once it's in the squeeze bottle, it stores indefinitely, and I shake it. There was a little bit in the bottom of the bottle, so I'm just going to make sure that it's all mixed together. I'm also going to be using my pool trowel today. That is also towards the very bottom, I think, of my Amazon link. This is from Marshalltown, and I get it through Amazon, and it's about $25, but it's well worth it. I've had it for a year, and I've used it for larger canvases. It's so much fun to swipe with. With this technique, you'll need a lot of damp paper towels to wipe off with. Again, my squeeze bottles are the ones that I specifically prefer. They're called icing bottles, and they're in my Amazon link as well, but they have a very small nozzle and a screw-on lid. I love the screw-on lids because it just keeps the paints nice and fresh. You can shake, you can squeeze, it does not leak. It's just fantastic bottles. I like them so much more than the dollar bottles. I do have, like, this one is in the dollar bottle, but the nozzle is so much wider, and so I like more control with my swipes. So now I'm just going to go ahead and finish putting down a layer of black, and I'm basically just putting a thin coat. I don't need a lot. I just want a wet layer. And also the pre-primed black canvases that I get from Michaels are a little duller than the black that I use, and I usually use the Artist Loft black flow acrylic. It just it's a richer, deeper black. So I'm just going to spread this around, and then I'm going to be doing my usual kind of feathery Native American Indian looking swipes that I love to do. I just kind of go with the flow. I let the spirit move me, and I just do what it feels good and what colors I like. that kind of thing, but I have not done this style in quite a while, and I was very anxious to be doing it again. And I'm also going to make sure too that my black goes over the edges of my canvas. I'm dripping all over the place, so I'm trying to get my drips. But you just make sure, this is the messiest part of the swiping process. This is generally a very conservative way to use fluid art paint where you don't waste so much. So I actually really like this technique a lot. And I like the fact that I can control it a little bit better. But it's still random as far as cells and that kind of thing goes. So you just kind of let the paint speak for you. I'm going to get this up right here because otherwise I'll be sticking my shirt in it. I want the design to be long, so it will be oriented this way. That's why I'm not putting the canvas lengthwise, which typically I do. Now I'm just going to, drop it a few times. That gets rid of air bubbles. It does not have to be perfectly level because it will self-level as it sits here and dries. And a painting like this also will dry overnight pretty quickly, sometimes even by the same evening, especially in the warmer months. So it does not take as long as a pour does because you're using so much less paint because you're squeezing it out of squeeze bottles and you have control of how much paint comes out. So I'm going to, I didn't even pull out my white. So I have titanium white in a squeeze bottle as well. That's going to be my swiping color. So I've mentioned multiple times that the Arts Council building, or the Arts Council studio, is next door to me. And you can hear through the walls a lot. And there's sometimes a baby crying because one of the ladies brings her baby in. So if you hear that, that's what it is. So I'm going to start my swipe. I want a long one to come across here. But then I want one to intersect here and then come down here. So that's just going to be my, like, drawing in a line of a sketch, basically. Then I'll do the Purple Rain. But I'm just going to do one piece at a time. I think I'll do, I'll go ahead and do the bright blue. Oh, that was stuck and then a bunch came out at one time. That's okay. I'll go back. Just go over the edge right here. With the purple and the Purple Rain, just so that it kind of still swipes in the order that I want it to swipe in. Okay, then I'm going to do turquoise. I'm putting a pretty substantial amount of paint, which I probably don't need as much as I do. I think I'm not going to use the deeper green. I'm going to use the Festive Green. I didn't even really want to use green, to be honest. I think I just wanted to. Okay, now I'm gonna do this violet color. So I need to put these bottles in the order that I am doing this, so that if I want the other one to look like it, then they'll be in the order that I put them in, and there won't be confusion. So there's the Carousel Pink. The red. The orange. Okay, and so now, and this is a pretty wide stripe. I want to use the gold color. And it's a little blocked up, so I'm trying not to squeeze a ton out. There it goes. And then the bright yellow, because I want a good amount of that bright yellow to contrast against the purple. I think I'm going to go back one more time and just add a little bit more purple, because I want that to kind of come through over the other colors. But like I said, I am swiping with white, so I'm going to scoot my canvas over a bit. And I'm putting down a good amount of white. So now here we go. Now for me, I like to be able to swipe easily since I'm right-handed. So I need to be able to control it with my right hand pretty easily. So I'm actually going to angle this, and I have to decide if I want this to swipe first and this one over it, or that one first and then this one. So I think I'm going to go down here first. Now this is when you have some beautiful things on your tool. And I've got something like photo paper, but it's not, but I'm going to just run the edge along the tool, and then just let that sit on the side and make some pretty designs. But then I'm going to wipe off. I really wish I had not put that much paint down here. I wanted it to be thinner, but that's okay. I don't really plan out anything, but you do want to think of your composition when you're doing this. Okay, so this one I'm going to come over and overlap just a bit. And I try to lift off so you get some feathery effects on the edges. And it's okay if it dribbles. I'm going to take this and do the same thing right on the edge. And just tilt that and let it become what it wants to become. And wipe this off. Make sure there's holes here where they attach the wooden handle to the plastic. And I always make sure to try to clean out those holes as well. It's not going to make a huge difference in your swipe, but it could make a little difference. Now I'm going to do this last swipe here. One little area picked up some purple from this stripe. That's okay, but I'm going to probably go back over that with some white. And I'm going to add add just a little bit of white down here. And I can take my little palette knife and kind of go over the edge just to soften it. Okay, so this one goes this way and this one comes this way. So I'm going to turn it just so it's more comfortable for this hand now. And I'm going to do strictly this area. Well, what I can do is I can overlap this, or I can make it underneath. So I'm trying to decide how I want to do it. I think I'll go over it. And I'm going to stop it about right there. This one I'm going to change the color combination just slightly. And I'm trying to keep the layers just a little bit thinner than before. So just making sure you can see my canvas in the frame. And all right. So this one I'm going to do, I think I'm going to come up and over a little bit. Oh, I need my white. Just about forgot it. So I took it right off the edge of the canvas. Oops, I'm dripping. Alright, so again, just taking those colors and transferring them onto something that I can save my skins for. To get that drop out of my black. And I can also, got a little black left in my cup, so I can kind of lay it down on the canvas and just kind of let that level out. So that one, because I went up, it didn't bring the white over as much, which I'm not super crazy about. So there's two things you can do. You can live with it, or you can re-swipe it. And I am all about, if you're not happy with something, to continue to work with it. Because it's just like life. It's not always pretty. And we have the opportunity to change the outcome many times throughout our lives of things that we don't care for, or that we just want it to be better. So I think I'm going to re-swipe just right through here. So what I'll do again is lay down that purple first, stop about right there. And I like this violet color, this Quinacridone Violet. I like that up against the other purples better too. I'll do the blue. Turquoise. And I do love the turquoise against the red, so I'm going to do that again. But I'm kind of thinning out my lines as I get to that section right there. I'll throw in a little the Carousel Pink, but I don't know that it doesn't really show up that much. So then the buttery gold. And then the white, the yellow, the bright yellow. I was thinking about this area right here, which needs some white, so that's why I said white. Now I'm going to do my white where I'm going to swipe. And I am going to take my palette knife and just come down into this area a little bit. Right there. So now I'm going to come up again, but then I'm going to come over, because I want that white to come over the colors. And you got to pay attention not to drip. So it's, it's not too much different, but I think I like it a little better. Just trying to keep my messes to a minimum here on my butcher paper, and I just swipe the edge of the canvas there with the edge of my paper towel. So I'm going to let this drift over a touch. Just bleed over a little bit. And then it'll drip down on its own. So now I'm going to turn it back. Now I want an area right here, I think, too. So maybe what I'll do is I'll really give it a curve. And I think I'm going to change up the colors just a little bit. I'm going to see if I can narrow this down right here. I'm just using my finger. And see, I can blow too. So I can soften lines that, I ended up moving with my fingers or whatever. So now this one, I want it to feel a little bit brighter. So I think I'm going to do purple. Purple Rain. Quinacridone. Blue. Turquoise. And here I'm going to add the green back in and the sour apple. And maybe just the bright yellow. So this one I can kind of take and move, and I can use this or I can use a smaller tool to scrape. So I think I'm going to switch to a smaller tool instead of using this because this just lends itself to smaller areas. So like I have this, which would work better. So I just dripped a crumb in my black. So I'm going to just come up here. Now I want to come over this with these colors. And I think I'm going to go, I'm going to do this part with my credit card. This requires a really light touch. See, if you push down too hard, it takes it down to the black, and you don't want it to go down to the black. So I'm going to go back in right here and just add maybe a little bit of purple, a little Purple Rain. Okay, so the only other thing I'm going to do, I think up here, is I'm going to take my card and just do a line. I kind of like to do some, just something that makes it feel a little bit more abstract. And I'm going to clean up this edge here down in the corner. So maybe I'll do just a little bit of turquoise and green. Maybe add a little bit of blue. The lime green. and yellow. And yeah, I'll just use the end of my card and just swipe through the white and just bring it up a bit. Just to give this something here at the bottom. I'm not even crazy about, I'm going to separate that a little bit just by dragging my card through it. And then what I can do is I can go back with my black in my bottle and fill in that gap. And then I can take my card and just go whoop, and make a little line there. This one is kind of, I don't know, so I'm going to take my card again. I want some paint on it though. I'm going to stick it in this little puddle right here. I want it to have just a little bit of color on the end of it. Don't like that area right there. And this area right here is a little bit on the muddy side, so I'm going to try to cover it up with some white. Take a little white on my palette knife. Up a little color off one of the cards I swiped on, and I'm just going to try to softly bring that over a bit. So I'm going to take my plastic scraper here, and I'm going to try to bring this white over this edge right here just very slightly. Just a very light touch, really light. I'm going to try something right here along the edge. I'm just going to try some of this gold and orange and my skewer. Just to see what that looks like. I'm not sure. I wanted to see if I wanted to brighten up those edges. But I don't think I'm going to do that. And I am going to kind of scrape this in a bit, but try to make it uneven. Put a little black back. And then I can also try to blow. I don't know if it'll work. Just so the edges don't look like they were manipulated too much. And maybe right along this edge here, it's almost dry already. So I'm just going to add a little bit of this turquoise color just to make it, give it a little bit more definition. So I'm going to put the black up next to it because it needs something wet. You can't put paint onto a dry canvas and expect it to move at all if it's already started to dry. So I'm going to just softly drag my skewer up a little bit. And this is still bothering me, so what I'm going to do is just do a white line, maybe put a little of the quinacridone and a little bit of the Purple Rain. And I'm going to use my card and just very softly give it that burst of color a little bit. I can live with that better. And I'm going to put just a little line of orange right there. And a little line of yellow, and just softly use my skewer just to give that a little bit of an edge. It's more colorful, and I can even move some of that black over if I need to with my skewer, just to give that little bit of highlight right there. Just get that edge a little more. I don't want it as hard of an edge, so what I did was I added the black and blue just a little bit to give it a jagged edge. So I think I'm going to call this one done. So I hope you enjoyed it, and if you did, please give me a thumbs up. I'm going to bring it up to you just to see, and you can see there where the black is already dried underneath that white stripe. It really, this style of painting really dries pretty quickly. And there's the bottom, which my canvas is long enough to where I didn't want to bang it on anything, but that is, there's the colors there in the corner. You can see that. But yeah, I have a stand that my camera is held on that's at the end, right here at the end of the table, so I have to make sure I don't bang my canvas into it. But this is my swipe for today, and please give me a thumbs up if you liked it. Make sure to check out all the links below the video where it says show more on your computer or on your mobile device. It's a down arrow, and look for more beautiful things. I'm going to bring in these ridges some. Don't care for them. All right. So I will see you next time, and you have a great week. Thank you. Bye-bye.